Namaskara, bro.
Namaskara, namaskara, namaskara.
Dude, I would ask how you are, but I mean, we've been doing match previews without matches. Like we have nothing to talk about, nothing to add. But I'll ask you anyway, how are you?
Things are going good, bro. Looking forward to the season starting again. I haven't got back on the pod since IPL restarted. Happy that the country's safe. Happy that it gets back in the right spirit, and looking to finish off strong for RCB. So stoked about that.
Nailed that. Nailed that. I love those words. I echo everything you said, and so let's get right into the routine here. Actually, before we do that, we should mention that we're previewing RCB versus SRH, 13th match for RCB, and the venue has been moved to Lucknow from
Mhm.
Bangalore, where there's heavy rains. So I've been checking the forecast in Lucknow. Looks good. So we should have an actual match that we get to play, talk about. So let's get right into it. We do have one update on the overseas player list. And that's, if you see here, Blessing Muzarabani. Welcome to RCB, Blessing. He has replaced Lungian Gidi, who has left already. Is that right, bro?
I think so. I think he's on his way out. I think 26 was like the cutoff for all the South Africans to go through. I don't know if this is just like a preemptive effort to just get him out of the squad and get Mizobani some game time.
So we bring in the Zimbabwean to replace Lungian Gidi. We have everybody else available, as far as I know, for the upcoming match against SRH, except Hazelwood, who I still see may come back, started bowling in the nets. So we hope to have him back soon. 7 of 8 overseas players available for selection, which brings us to our playing 12. We went through this pretty extensively in the last match preview, and this is what we came up with, Rahul. What do you see here? And I preemptively subbed in Nuan for Ngidi. So tell me if you see any changes here.
Yeah, I mean, straight away, I think it's going to be Mayank for me,
Okay.
in terms of who gets the nod. Just because it's the flag end of the tournament, experienced Mayank coming through. Um, doesn't carry a lot of like IPL, experience as well. He played for Punjab, with KL for a few years, so he's kind of familiar with the pitches up north. So I think he's going to be quite he's going to be very beneficial to have in the spot for sure over Bangladesh. So I think I'm going to keep him there. I think the rest of the 11 kind of speaks for itself. Bashara is going to be a yes or a no. I don't know if I would bring in Nazar Madin, who's had zero IPL experience, to
Yeah.
come in and play the 13th match for the team. That's a lot of pressure, and in a lot of ways, this win and this match is going to be very critical for us to get into the top two, and we'll talk about that in detail too. But I think Tashara gets the nod now that Ngudi's out.
Okay. Let me throw one potential at you. A little bit left field, but for the sake of discussion, would you be interested in a double switch? No Mayank or Bandage. Play Jacob Bethel. Take out Tushara. Play Rasik Dar. All Indian bowling lineup. Bolster the batting. Get a left-hander in the middle. Yes, it's only for one match, but it is a must-win match if we're wanting to finish top two. And Bethel is cooking. He's in good form now. What do you think about that?
That's actually a pretty awesome thought, and quite honestly, didn't think about it until right now. I would be open to it, quite honestly. I'm not a huge proponent of like, let's make sure that we get the same 11 that we would play in the playoffs, right? Like, let's absolutely make sure that we get into the top two. That should technically be our, goal right now. Yes, playoffs are important. Yes, getting some miles into your legs is very important. But I agree, get your best combination out there. That's going to get you that W. That's going to ensure that we finish top two. I think that's going to be our Otherwise, just let Jacob Bethel go now, right? Like, what's the point of having Bethel and Livingston or whoever? I think Salt is not in the squad apparently, but why would you have them stick around if you're not going to even consider them for these next two matches? I think
Yeah,
that's how I'm looking at it too. I saw this video with Mo Bobat, and he kind of talked about, managing overseas players just in this odd scenario where there was a break for about a week, and then, some of them went back. I think Hazelwood's still in Australia, if I'm not mistaken, and he's going to make a decision about the playoffs, yes or no, depending on the opposition, I'm sure. But again, same thing, right? It's like you have good team and you have good players in the bench. Use them.
I think that the bench is the key, right? Because we paid 6 crores for a guy like Rasikdar. He's rode the bench all season now. He's had a rough couple matches when he did play. But I'm thinking struggling batting lineup with SRH, big ground. We could get away with playing perhaps a lesser bowler to bolster that middle order or even the top order at the number 3 spot and get a lefty in there. And I totally agree. Like if it's just an emergency situation that guys like Bethel, and I guess Ngidi before this match are sticking around, then there's no like I feel bad for them. Like they're just sitting
Yeah.
around and they're
Uh,
world class players. That doesn't mean pick them just because you feel bad, but I want to utilize the good players that we have while we have them. So it's just a thought I had. Let's see if they even come close to that.
I mean, to your point too, right? I mean, it's not like Fisara is that much more. He's not gonna change the bowling unit from being, completely raw to an experienced unit. Do you know what I mean? We still have
Yep.
Boovy in there. We still have that old horse. He's gonna sort of guide the others through. I don't think it's gonna like sacrifice a whole lot of people in Russia through. So I'm agree with that.
Okay. If I do predict that, I'm gonna come on the post match and take a lot of credit.
Can you do that?
Okay, let's get into our first matchup here. I think this is their most important batter. I think you would agree with that. Our
Yep.
boy Abhishek Sharma, possibly our future World T20 opener. I don't know. It's tough competition with Gill, him, and Jaiswal right now,
Yeah.
but he's in the running. Pretty good IPL and a few blistering knocks so far. When we get to the business end of the tournament like this and we're playing a team that doesn't have anything to lose, this is the situation that I fear because it's not that SRH has anything to lose. They don't. But Abhishek Sharma does have something to lose. His numbers matter for the selection for the World Cup, for selection of the next India series. And when you don't have any match pressure and you can just go out and hit, that's when I think that he could be really, really dangerous and bring out an innings that close to his 200 strike rate that can be really damaging. So, your thoughts on how we approach a matchup like this, especially when we don't have Hazelwood or Ngidi for Friday's match?
Yeah, no, I think spot on. Abhi is just in that zone right now where he senses like Jaiswal breathing down his neck, Sai Sudarshan breathing down his neck,
Good
Gale
point.
do Gale doing really well, top two in the orange cap, like leaderboard, right? So you've got Priyam like Arya who's coming out of nowhere, so he's got competition, right? I think his spot with SRH is solid. I don't think he's going anywhere. I think SRH is like sold on him and he feels comfortable there. But with the next Indian season coming, he definitely wants to solidify his spot there too. He's just going to go hard, right? That's just the nature of his game. I think Lucknow, as you said, is a bigger ground. He loves the left side, especially when he's trying to hoik any of the faster bowlers. Um, I think Boovy is going to be the key man here because he's going to try and go after every single bowler. You need someone like the experience of Bhuvneshwar Kumar to kind of like drop the length back a little bit, make him chase the ball, try to he always tries to basically get that ball in the slot by using his feet. So I think pull back the length a little bit, get him top edge. with players like Abhishek Sharma, you're always going to get a chance here and there in the first couple of overs, right? Just because they live and die by the same sword, right? So I think he's always going to give you that odd chance. But if it's his day, I mean, it's kind of game over in terms of how many runs this guy can get, and he's in red hot form right now. But Boogie's going to be the main guy against him, I think.
Okay, I like that. If he makes it out of the power play and he's pretty well set, I'm gonna make a prediction that Krunal's gonna get him because I think that he likes to line up similar bowling. If he sees repetition, he's gonna make hay. And Krunal's the opposite of that, both with pace, line, and length. So I think that he'll have trouble getting Krunal away on the big ground, but let's hope Krunal doesn't even have to face him because if he gets out, the earlier he gets out, the better for RCB.
Yeah.
Moving on here to our second matchup, who I think we can both agree is their second most important batter, Heinrich Klassen. And, we have had a lot of side discussions on what has gone wrong with SRH this year. Part of it, I think, is that Klassen had a just ridiculous campaign last year. But if you look at the numbers, it's actually not that far off from what he had last year. He is averaging around the same. He has a little bit less strike rate, but very healthy strike rate. So he can honestly carry the middle order to a decent total by himself. And we've seen him do it, pulling SRH from like 30 for 5 or something against Mumbai. He took them to like a normal score, 140-ish, if I remember correctly. So what do you make of Klassen's campaign this season so far, and how we're going to combat the fact that for him, it's really difficult to bowl spin? And we've had such a stranglehold of the middle overs with Krunal and Suyash before the IPL break.
Yeah, no, for sure. I've made this point before too. Sometimes when you are in somewhat of a team that looks great on paper, but is playing a very mediocre type of cricket, you all of a sudden don't look as good as you did before. Henrik Klassen last year looked phenomenal because he had Abhishek and Travis had given them the kind of starts that they did, right? I mean, you had the odd game where he was saving their team, yes, for sure, but he walked in when they were like 130 and 10 overs or something ridiculous like that, and he kind of took them to that 200 point on a regular basis. So a lot of it depends, and it's been like if you look at the South African players, they feed off of each other's energy, and they kind of do. I haven't seen maybe AB de Villiers, and I'm not being biased because he plays for RCB, and not many South African players who has that mental capacity to kind of get them out of that ditch on a regular basis. I think Heinrich Klassen rides on a positive wave that has already been set by the team. He doesn't have that this year. SRH just have conflict. I mean, the names are still the same. The quality, supposedly, you can't change quality in just a year. It's just that they've been found out, right? I mean, everyone looked at them and said, these are players who are going to get 300 on a regular basis and 20 overs. And, every other team has done their homework, right?
Yeah.
I still think that Suyash is going to be the key for him.
Last year, Travis had Abhishek Sharma, Heinrich Klassen had not good, great seasons.
Mhm.
Well supported by Nitish Kumar Reddy. That I just pulled up one of their scorecards from last year. So their other batters were Abdul Samad, who had some contributions, but not a major role. Shabazz Ahmed, Pat Cummins. So they were really carried by these 3-4 batters last year. And like you said, I like the statement where you said they've been found out, because I think Gujarat Titans can also be found out the same way because they have 3 batters that score all the runs. But Gujarat Titans have definitely not been found out, and SRH have been, where especially Travis Head, I think, has had the most decline out of those 3 from last year. So if you can get 1 or 2 of them early, it seems like they have just collapsed. And Ishan Kishan has been majorly disappointing this year. So really no support for Klassen in the middle. I think that's a big reason for the numbers being down. But also he's been found out a little bit. I definitely agree with you. last but not least, let's touch a little bit on Sunrisers bowling. It's hard to get a sense of their bowling because every time I think of Sunrisers, I just think of their openers. I just think of Klassen. Before this year, Nitish Kumar Reddy as well. It was doing very well. Australia tour, he was really on the rise. Their bowlers, you know, they I think banked a lot on Mohammad Shami, and it didn't pan out. He looks totally washed, and you have really called this from the beginning. Um, Not a white ball bowler anymore, it seems. He has the least healthy economy out of everybody. They invested a lot in ex-RCB boy, Harshal. He has had some great memories with RCB. He had a pretty good season last year as well. But when it goes bad for him, it goes really bad. And he's also going at 10. Cummins, he's doing what he can. Economy of 9 is not bad. And last 5 matches, they've gone with overseas player Ishan Malinga here, who's done well, sub 9 economy. So I don't think the bowlers have also played their part. I think it's a both batting and bowling failure for SRH this year. Do you see anything threatening with their fast bowlers for Friday's match?
I mean, their main bowler is Patty Cummins. I don't know why he wasn't opening the bowling for them. I think he did that more recently, and he picked up 3 wickets within the power play. And I think I messaged on the group going, "Where was this all season?" Um, because if Patty Cummins is going to open the bowling for you, and he picks up 2 wickets, all of a sudden, Malinga, Shami, and Patel look threatening.
Yeah.
If Patty Cummins is coming in after power play, not using the new ball, and we know that the shine on this ball now goes away very quickly. Now what's the point? Because you're already about 70, 80 runs on the board, and Patty Cummins comes in, gets a wicket invariably in his first or his second over, and it's fine. He is what he is. He's a class bowler. Um, but it's just about how he manages himself, quite honestly. If he opens the bowling, I think this unit just becomes slightly more threatening. But if he chooses to, hold off on the new ball, it's not going to be a whole lot going on for them. It's just how they use Patty Cummins that's going to really kind of boil down to.
I also think that Patty Cummins is their only new ball bowler. The only one that's capable of actually taking wickets up front where the batters may not be going full tilt in the first 2 overs, but getting them out anyway through good bowling, test match bowling, pretty much. If you look at Ishan Malinga, he's in the nuance to shot a mold, middle overs bowler, full and straight, keeps it tight. Same with Harshal. Harshal's purely a middle overs bowler. And Shami, who was an opening bowler, hasn't panned out. So if we can navigate Cummins through the power play, especially Phil Salt, Coley, I'm less worried about. I think he feels comfortable with pace, whoever it is. But if Phil Salt can see off the Pat Cummins overs, there's a real opportunity here for him to go berserk against the other bowlers. So he's the one that I do fear. Cummins overs 2, 3, 4, 5, even that window. If he bowls 2 or 3 of them, as long as he doesn't get wickets, I think we'll be okay. Without further ado, who's going to win on Friday? Hopefully, we have a match. It's been how many weeks? It's been what, 3 weeks since RCB have played. It's like been close to a month.
It feels that way for sure. I think it was about a few days, 4 to 5 days prior to the termination, and then it's been a week, so it's been at least 2 weeks for sure, if not more. But it certainly
Unreal.
feels like ages since
I
I've
I
yeah.
just checked. We played May 3rd against CSK, and today's May 21st. So 2.5 weeks. It's felt like much
Yeah,
longer than that. Who's going to win Friday?
RCB. We're gonna win the toss. We're gonna bat. Gonna get 210, and then we're gonna bowl them out for 150 odd.
Damn, that would be just what the doctor ordered for
Yeah.
the top two. Um, Net run rate is going to matter,
Hmm.
assuming there's no more washouts between us and Punjab. So I love your prediction. I also feel good about tomorrow's match. look, we can get deep into the RCB psyche. If and when the season ends, if it does end poorly, we will go through all the different opportunities we've had over the years, what went wrong, how at the least expected moment something does go wrong. And against Sunrisers specifically, we have had a few late season matches where they have nothing to gain, but we still lose to them, and we have everything to gain and everything to lose, and we end up losing everything. I specifically remember UAE match, AB de Villiers last over needing 12 to 14 runs off Bhuvaneshwar. He couldn't get it. We lost up 2. We ended up losing in the eliminator. The rest is history, as they say. Despite that, I am trying to stick to the cricketing logic. We're the better team. We have the better batters in terms of form. We have the better bowlers in terms of form. We have the better vibes. We have the better connectivity. And we're undefeated on the road, where it's a good thing. We're playing away from Chinnaswamy. So I don't see many reasons why we shouldn't feel confident. We should feel confident. It's not arrogance by any means. We don't feel that confident, trust me. But I would say that if we win the toss, we're going to put up 190, and then we're going to bowl them out for 160, 170. I think it's going to be 20-30 run win if we do bat first. If we bat second, I'm a little bit more nervous. I think that they're a bat first team. They have nothing to lose, and there's no chasing pressure. They can just swing, and if they connect a few, then they get the momentum. So I'll be a little nervous if they do that. I think they would also score decent total 180, 185 range, and we would chase it down with about an over and a half left. So either way, it's a decent net run rate boosting win that I'm predicting. Not as much as you. That would be amazing. 60 runs. I mean, then Punjab would really have to do something special their next 2 matches. So let's hope you're right. Regardless, we both feel good about Friday. Just please, please, please let us have this match. Please. I just want to see our team play, and I want to rebuild some of that momentum we had at the beginning of the season. We'll be back for the post-match. Y'all take care.
Catch you then.